What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals, we're back with the old pod episode 63. Gosh darn.
You flying.
Hey, if you like trailer reactions, go check out. We reacted to Jurassic World. We reacted to the Fantastic Four. Go check those out. But yeah, thank you, Movie Meal patrons, Kimberly, Karen. Let's get into it. We got a few things to talk about. Might be a shorter ep. We'll see how the combo goes. But first, I haven't been in the movie theater in a while. Kyle went and saw Presence and wants to talk about it real quick. Kyle, what did you think of Presence? I wanted to see it. I just haven't gotten an opportunity. Been doing other things.
Yeah, it was really a busy January for me too. There was actually a few movies I wanted to see outside of Presence. I'm hoping to play catch up here soon, but we'll see. But yeah, I was able to catch Presence, the new Steven Soderbergh joint. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. I really had a good time with this one. I think it's being pegged as a horror film, which I guess in some ways it is, but not in like the totally supernatural aspects, but I guess more in terms of like real world aspects that come into the movie. I guess you could see it go into like the horror range in that degree. So I guess just a notice in case if people have heard about it but haven't checked it out. There you go. But I thought it was really impressive what Soderbergh did with the limitations that he had for this project. It seemed like it was just from the profile of the ghost in a movie that is, I guess, quote unquote, haunting the house that a family is living in. But it's more so from the point of view of that ghost and how they see the family dynamics going on throughout the movie in terms of a family trying to rebuild itself. Like there's just a couple of situations and relationships that are kind of being tested, I suppose. There's a couple of characters throughout the movie that have like their own personal demons and their own personal issues going on throughout the movie that the ghost is kind of witnessing, and it's kind of more of a family drama than anything else. And with the way that this movie is shot, like, yes, there is kind of like a spookiness to it in a weird sort of way, although it comes like from a more heartfelt place, weirdly enough. It feels like that you are the eyes of the ghost and you are feeling sad, like you feel bad for what the characters or what the family is kind of going through during the trying times of the movie. And I just thought that was pretty impressive what Soderbergh was able to accomplish in terms of just a really small shoot, and just based on the way that the camera is shot and the way that it moves throughout the house. There's just some really impressive cinematography work and some really impressive editing that goes on throughout this movie. I also saw a YouTube video of like the particular type of camera that is used, that Soderbergh used for this movie. I'll try to look up the name of the channel for it here in a minute. I'm spacing on the name of the guy, but they just pointed out some interesting things about how this one camera is a pretty, I don't know, basic camera, I guess is kind of the best way to put it. But the reason why Soderbergh uses it is really key to like the movement of how the camera goes throughout the house. It's just very vital, and the way that it captures light and just like what the movie is trying to do is why Soderbergh went for that camera use. So I'll try to find that camera here in a sec and mention it real quick. But yeah, I would recommend this movie if it's still out in theaters, or maybe it's gonna go to like direct to video soon. So try to check it out. I thought it was pretty impressive work by Soderbergh.
Yeah, I want to see it. I just had heard that it was a supernatural kind of horror thriller from the perspective of the ghost. I mean, we had it in A Violent Nature last year, which was from the perspective of a serial or a killer, like a slasher killer. So it's interesting that we're doing these with horror. I think that's cool.
Yeah. The channel name is Patrick Tomaso. He recently did a video about like the particular camera and just why Soderbergh chose it, and it's a very insightful video. I recommend it.
Interesting.
Very well done by him.
What else was on the old docket for the day here?
Well, I know that you finally saw Amelia Perez and wanted to talk about your perspective on things with that movie. But do you want to talk?
It's a bad movie. It is not it's not a good movie. It is a bad movie.
All right.
It's a bad movie. And, you know, in 13 nominations is criminal. It is criminal that this movie got 13 nominations. I I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but it's hard not to think that they didn't buy some votes. The Netflix has all this money. They wanted a lot behind the first transgender actress being nominated. And I think it's extremely disappointing that this ended up being the actress to do it, to have that spot, because she has posted some pretty insane stuff, saying some pretty xenophobic and just kind of racist stuff. And go check. I mean, you can go find that on your own. But and I'll be honest, I think Zoe is the only thing that does kind of keep the movie somewhat interesting. But man, the fact that she's sweeping awards is wild. She is not the best supporting actress of the year. That is not.
Okay.
That shouldn't even. Margaret Qualley does circles in the substance around what Zoe does. Come on. And she's not really a side. She's a lead. We're having a big problem this year in what we define a lead. Are you kidding me? She's in most of the movie. A supporting actor, actress, if they're going to be in a lot of the movie, they have to elevate the performer, the main performance. They have to bring something that elevates everything else. That's what happens in a Nora. That's what Yura brings to the movie. He elevates Mickey's performance. He elevates the performance. That's what we saw with the Holdovers last year. I'm spacing on that actress's name, who's wonderful.
Right.
But she elevates every scene she's in. She doesn't just necessarily, and it's sometimes she does steal the spotlight in moments. Sometimes she brings all ships up. That is what a great supporting actor does. Zoe, I love Zoe Saldana. I really do. And she is the best part of this movie, but she is not a supporting actor in this movie. She is a lead in the movie. If anything, I think the two of them should be flip-flopped. I would argue that she, what's her name? Carla, I believe is her first name. She would be more of a supporting character. Zoe is in or at least co-leads. It's wild to me. Some of the songs are really bad. Some of them are fine, but the problem with this movie, and I'm going to get into, I guess, slight spoilers here, but the big problem is, like,
I think it's okay at this point.
you'll go 20 minutes and be interested, and you'll be like, what is happening here? Like, I like what's going on. We've got this kind of drug cartel world. We're telling an interesting story about the body and transgender people and what they feel. And then all of a sudden they just start singing. And you're like, oh, I forgot this is a musical. And then they're singing. And the songs, most of them I thought were not very good. And then some of them are fine. Some of them have been making the rounds on the internet for how bad they are. And some of them are bad. The whole doctor song, Walking In, asking about sex change operations, is a horrible song. It's horrible.
I thought the blocking in that movie, or at least like the movement of the camera in that musical scene, was good, but not the song itself. The song itself is like probably the worst one, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely the worst. And the block, yeah sure. But like, there are good things. There are people who did a good job on this movie. There are people who did that. But at the end of the day, you got to craft a great story. And they did not do that. They just didn't. And 13, I mean, 10, maybe I'd be like, all right, but 13 is record setting. I mean, that is record setting. Moonlight didn't get 13. Are you kidding me? Like, we're talking about Parasite didn't get 13. And these are all-time top generational films. And Emilia Perez is going to be buried. Selena Gomez is bad in it, and she is talented. I didn't think she was good at all.
No.
It's a bad movie. And like, I was sitting back going, wow, is this really inclusive for the Spanish American and Mexican community? I was sitting there watching this going,
a lot of those communities say no.
That's what it seems like people are saying. It's a very bad movie. It's very bad. Zoe should not be the front runner for the Academy. She's probably going to win it. And that's a bummer because she is, there are many more talented performances that are true supporting performances that deserve the spotlight. It is not a good film. And it is a serious bummer that Netflix put all this backing into this movie to turn out a bad product, because I want to see a great story about transgender people and what they go through and their experience. And I thought they came up with an interesting idea that just did not deliver. If they had just taken away the musical, I think it would have been better. If they had just
Yeah.
I don't know, and like the tone just shifted. It's not like musicals can have dark tones, but like we'd be in a scene that I was like, am I watching Denis Villeneuve and Sicario for a second here? Like, this is a really dark and intense scene, and then they're singing, and it's like, okay, like the way it doesn't feel like it's crafted by someone who understands musicals. It doesn't feel like it's
Or its
crafted
own
like it's
subject
just
matter.
yeah, it just is weird. It just comes
No,
across as weird. And
I get what you mean by that. For me, when I was watching the movie, like there was interesting ideas and elements, but they all just were stretched too thin or just couldn't come together fluidly, like more fluidly or well enough. Like it just was juggling too many things at once. Like between it being a musical, but it being like a dark drama, but between it with all these different subject matters as trying to talk about, put on display. Just a movie that just has a lot of cooks in the kitchen, despite it being from like one person's vision by the looks of things.
yeah,
It's very odd. Yeah.
it's very odd. It's not good. If it
Mm.
wins multiple Academy Awards, if it comes away with half of the 13, then this is going to go down as one of the worst years in Academy history.
Probably.
It's just going to.
Most likely.
And it's a year that I think most people consider a weaker year. But are you like, you're telling me that all the like, I don't know, there's just so many better movies. You're telling me Zendaya or Florence Pugh or Rebecca Ferguson are worse supporting actors than Zoe in this movie? No, they're not. And Zendaya, I'd argue, is probably considered a lead in Dune. But like, what? It's just this movie's bad. It's just
I thought
bad.
you meant Challengers.
Challengers too. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like Zendaya in Challengers is excellent. Like what are we doing here with some of these picks? There's no way Netflix didn't just buy a handful of votes. I totally believe it.
Yeah.
And the fact that
sorry, you go. Me, I can go. Thank you. I get like when you are in one branch of like the entire Oscars committee that you can have tunnel vision on what you view is good within your field. Like if you're someone that's in like cinematography and you're looking at only at the cinematography of these movies and not thinking of the movies as like the whole entire thing, if that makes sense, that I could see why they would have such tunnel vision on seeing like, oh, Emilia Perez does have interesting cinematography. I would nominate it in that category. But there's so many nominations from that logic that it's hard for me to believe that would be the case. Like if it got like 5 nominations and a lot of them are in like the technical categories like cinematography, then I'd be like, okay, they're just looking at that one element. I don't agree, but I can see why they go with that logic. But the fact that it is 13, like you were saying and what I mentioned on one of our last episodes, it does come across as a bit shady. I don't know. There is something to it that just seems off to me. I don't like it. I already wasn't, I haven't been a fan of the Oscars very often these days, and this doesn't help things, that's for sure.
So. Well, after listening to Ridley Scott and the Directors Roundtable talk about how his first movie ever at a film festival, people were praising like crazy, and he thought he might have a chance to win the Brian De Palma Award at the festival, if I'm correct on which festival and which award. But he was like, oh, my producer came to me and said that we won't win because this studio for this movie bought a bunch of votes, and so they're probably going to win. And then neither of those two movies won, and it ended up being a different movie. Like there's definitely buying of votes that happens. The Academy is just so large that sometimes it's going to play a big factor and sometimes it's not. And there's just I have a hard time believing Netflix didn't do it. And I think a lot of people were maybe scared not to, that this is the first time we're really seeing a transgender story like this, kind of with a big lead kind of focus. I mean, you talk about Dallas Buyers Club has that. But I can't think of any other movies. Yeah.
Even still, it's possible Dallas Buyers Club hasn't aged very well. Like, I don't know personally. I haven't seen the movie in forever, but it is possible that we thought that at the time, and maybe now in hindsight that wasn't such a good call. I'm just saying, like that's
Well,
possible even for Dallas
what I'm saying for uh, I'm not saying it. I don't think the transgender stuff is necessarily bad. I mean, I think the idea of doing that story in Amelia Perez is a risk and bold, and I
hmm
think that's the first time we're kind of seeing this style movie with this much backing and this much money behind it that Netflix gives. And maybe a lot of people were like, "Hey, we got to give this credit for being the first one to kind of do it." The only other movie I can think of that kind of dabbles in telling a transgender story is Dallas Buyers Club, and I don't remember Dallas Buyers Club ever doing it the wrong way because they're telling a true story of real people.
That's fair.
And in
Okay.
this movie, they're not. They're kind of just
hmm
making it up, and they're showing things that I just don't think that is really just true to culture and to the people, and
hmm
it's just poor. But
No,
um,
I think you're right that it could be that reasoning from the voters as well, which is unfortunate. If it's one that doesn't do a good job, but it's being voted for this much appraisal anyway. But I don't know. Hopefully, it means that better stories that tell it from the trans point of view can come to light after, or can come to fruition beyond this movie, and then more voters will realize how well and how much better those movies are, and those movies can get praise as well as, or to the degree that Amelia Perez is getting currently. Um,
gotcha.
so I don't know. I mean, it's a bummer for the communities, absolutely, but hopefully this just means that more movement and more progress can come afterwards, and it's not just like we're
I hope
stuck
so.
in the way that these are being told, that these stories are being told. If that makes sense at all. Hopefully, I don't know if I explained that very well, but uh, just trying to bring some positivity. Just trying to give a silver
Um,
line to everything, I guess.
let's quickly talk about Nolan, and then we can go over kind of the Critics' Choice Awards, which is the big award show that happened last night that we thought would be
Sure.
interesting to talk about, which will have some Oscar weight to it since it's the critics who vote. But uh, so they added Benny Safdie, and who was the other one? John Bernthal,
John
right?
Bernthal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
great. Great.
yeah.
Benny Safdie showed in Oppenheimer that he doesn't
hmm
just rock it behind the scene, behind the camera. He rocks it in front of the screen as well. And um, John Bernthal's a great character actor that you can put in, like putting him in a Greek mythology. Like he can play any of the gods. Like that is a great choice
Yeah.
for him, or just an ally to what we assume is going to be Tom Holland as Odysseus.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
rumors that it might be Tom, and then they do a time jump, and then it'll be Matt Damon playing Odysseus,
Oh,
but because Tom's a
that
little
was
old to play young Odysseus.
that was gonna be my theory. I didn't realize that was already a rumor coming out. So okay,
My
that
guy,
kind of
we even talked
answers.
about it in Movie Club.
Was that Talk to Movie Club? I didn't
Mm-hmm.
hear that. That was my
Zachariah was the one who
projection. I
pointed
just
out the
didn't.
age gap since he
Sure.
teaches the Odyssey.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really. If it is a time jump situation like that, to where Holland's playing young and then Damon's playing old, I think that makes sense, and I think that can work. Just
I do
initially,
too.
when I was hearing the rumor that Holland was playing Odysseus, it seemed like people were freaking out that it was just going to be Holland in that role the whole way through the movie, and that they don't see him as like the Odysseus character. Um, so I don't know, just another one of those film Twitter
To
conversations
me,
that's just silly, and I don't
yeah,
know.
to
We just need to see
me,
the movie.
I think this is why if you're Tom Holland, you take this role. Christopher Nolan comes and says,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm the best director you're gonna work with to this point. Let's show the whole world how really talented you can be. That it's
Yeah.
not just Spider-Man, and let's show everybody that you can be Odysseus and be a Greek god. I mean, he's already jacked. Yeah, he's a little short, but that's what I want in a short king for my Odysseus. You know what I mean? Like, and he's not so much older than Odysseus that I think a little bit of makeup, a little bit of de-age tech, just a tiny bit, just to kind of make him look a little younger. And then if he is playing it all the way through, just to make him look a little older, I think is fine. Like
hmm
Nolan has proven that Nolan can do whatever. And I think Nolan doing a great Greek
hmm
epic sounds awesome. I think this could be something along the lines of a Ben-Hur style old school epic movie. Like this could really hit. the
He could
way
be tapping into
Gladiator
that.
did when it first came out. Movies like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I think this could be great. Any other
Yeah.
thoughts?
I'll be rooting for Holland on this one. I actually was recently watching Captain America: Civil War, and
Classic.
I just got whiplash for how young and how baby faced Tom Holland is in Civil War. Still kills it like when he with
No,
his
he's
first
great.
introduction
Civil
as the
War's great.
character and all that. A great movie too, but it just made me realize why there are people that are unsure about Tom Holland in a role like this is because I think they still view him obviously as Spider-Man, but even more so as just like a young kid
Yeah.
playing Spider-Man. When
Yeah.
he has time has passed. Like
He's going to
pandemic
college
has
now
really
as Spider-Man.
shifted. What was that?
Yeah. He's going to college now as Spider-Man, so like he's older even in playing that character.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
mean it I just think people really don't realize just how much time has passed and how much older he has really gotten and how much he's changed as like an actor over the years. Like
yeah.
you can tell in interviews I've seen of late, like he really has like gotten more comfortable in like presenting himself in interviews and in like press and that sort of thing compared to when he was starting out in like his Spider-Man stuff. Like he really
Yeah.
has changed like his whole vibe. So I don't know. Hopefully audiences recognize that more by the time the movie comes around.
Let's get to the Critics' Choice Awards. We'll kind of might not necessarily rattle through everything constantly, but we'll just kind of go
Sure.
through. They gave best score to Challengers.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it
Love
too.
it.
Dune Part 2 though, nominated here because the critics understand that it's a different score.
Excuse me. Yes. Yeah. They
Amelia Perez
understand the
nominated.
assignment. They
Yeah.
understand the assignment.
I want to keep track of how many times I see Amelia Perez in the Critics' Choice Award.
Ooh,
So
that is a
one,
good
they have a
point.
score.
Like for nominations or wins?
Yeah, nominations. I just want to see how many noms they gave him here. What did the critics give compared to like the, because the critics aren't voting for the Academy. It's the editors and it's all the people in Hollywood who are actually making the movies that are doing it. So I'm curious if the critics are really following the same lead here. But best song went to Zoe, Carla, and Camila for El Mal in Amelia Perez, and they did get 2 nominations for best song. And that song is good. I mean, I just don't think the movie's good. Like this is a win that I would be like, all right, the movie was not very good. It makes sense that they'd get it, but the fact that they got 13 nominations for the Academy Award is what makes this so obnoxious.
Yeah. Best song categories I
noms.
normally don't care about personally anyway.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of that, the Oscars have decided, hey, you got nominated for an Academy Award. Great. You don't get to perform it because Wicked came out this year and we need Ariana Grande up on stage. Bunch of losers.
I like it.
You like that people who worked real hard to get an Oscar nomination for the first time in decades don't get to perform it at the Academy Awards in replace for a celebrity who was not nominated in that category?
Not necessarily that, but I just think that we don't need to see the songs to begin with usually.
I agree.
Throughout the awards.
I agree with that. But if
the
you're
songs,
gonna,
especially this year, were not enjoyable. So at the very least, you might as well have a great opener like from Wicked. I get it.
No. Just come out with Conan and just let him be funny. That's all you need. I think it's just unfair. I think you should be upset if you're like one of the people that worked hard on a song that got nominated.
Yeah,
but
no, I would be too.
Foreign language film here. This went to Amelia Perez. They're already at 4 noms and a win.
Wow,
2 wins for the critics.
That's a bit shocking for the critics' choice.
What did Amelia Perez get in terms of Rotten Tomatoes? Because that's a lot of the same critics. 72 overall out of 258 reviews. 17% by audiences out of 5,000 reviews.
I don't know. I do remember that Amelia Perez premiered at some film festival early in the year, and usually with film festivals, you go in completely blind without knowing what the movie is. Yeah. And it's possible that even for the critics, they were just like, whoa, what did we just watch? That was nothing that we would have ever expected.
There is truth to, if you see a movie at a festival, it does hit a little bit different than it did if you see it definitely at home, but even just in the theater. But
I buy it. I buy it. Although, what were
I'm
the
Still
other?
Here is interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what were the other nominations? Like, I'm Still Here and
All We
Sacred.
Imagine is Light, Flow,
Mm.
Kneecap. Shout out to Kneecap. Fun
Oh,
film.
hey,
And
cool.
The Seed of the Sacred Fig.
Wow, and
Flow's,
I've heard a lot more praise for all of those movies compared to Amelia
definitely.
Perez. That's wild.
Flow is hitting Max on February 14th.
Oh,
Thank
really?
God. Love it.
Good.
Love it. Excited to watch it.
Yeah, I'll be seeing I'm Still Here as well at the end of February.
Yeah, it's playing here. I just am trying to find a day to go see it because I have to go into the city to see it.
Gotcha.
But there's rumors we might get some snow days this week. So if that happens, I might be making a nice little trek into the city in the snow since I
Hook
can
your
handle
dog
it.
up to a sled.
Yeah, pretty much. So they have Best Comedy,
Okay.
which had a tie. Critics tied it here. A Real Pain won and Deadpool and Wolverine won.
Oh, good lord.
Which is interesting. Deadpool and
No,
Wolverine's
that
funny,
sucks.
but it's I don't know if it's. I mean, A Real Pain's also funny, but like in an awkward kind of way. Hitman, I think, is funnier than both those movies. So is My Old Ass.
Oh, I forgot you saw that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good movie.
I can't believe it. Jesus. All right, you can keep going. I've said enough. you know my thoughts.
Best Animated Feature went to The Wild Robot. I don't think that's a shock at all.
Yeah,
Beating Out
that's
Flow could go either way at the Academy Award, but visual effects, they had the winner going to Dune Part 2. If Dune doesn't win visual effects for the Academy Award, it'd be wild.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, although The Substance they nominated, and The Substance does have great visual effects, but it's practical effects that stick out so much in that movie. So that's very interesting.
I would agree with that too. Yeah.
Hair and makeup went to The Substance. Love it.
There it is. Yeah.
Love it.
There it is. Okay.
Love it.
Who were the other nominees?
Beetlejuice, Dune Part 2, Wicked, Nosferatu, and A Different Man.
Honestly, that's a good category.
It is a very strong category.
Yeah, I like those.
Costume design went to Wicked. Those nominees were Conclave, Nosferatu, Maria, Dune Part 2, Gladiator 2, and then Wicked. I think that makes sense. Wicked's costumes are phenomenal. I think that very much will probably win the Academy Award as well.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Best editing went to Challengers.
Hey, I like that one.
I like it too. Challengers is great editing.
Who are the
it didn't
nominees?
get nominated, right, for the Academy Award. It didn't even get nominated.
I forget if it was for editing. Probably not. I don't think it did.
Honora Challengers Conclave, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, and September 5. I love to see that.
Yeah,
win.
I mean, I like the Challengers win. I just haven't seen half the movies. Brutalist, seen in a few weeks.
Nice.
That's coming up soon too.
Well, you only haven't seen 2 of the movies, not half. You got more than half. Production design went to Wicked.
Okay.
Brutalist, Conclave, Nosferatu, Gladiator 2, and Doom Part 2. That's a bit.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, a lot of green screens. Conclave, they rebuilt the Sistine Chapel.
Pretty
Nosferatu,
impressive.
they went back in time. Gladiator 2, they rebuilt the parts of the Colosseum. Like,
yeah, that's
a little bit of a stretch, but good for them.
Come on, critics.
Notice I haven't said Amelia Perez in a minute.
Good point.
Best cinematography went to Nosferatu. Let's go. Great pick by the critics.
Okay.
Against Wicked, The Brutalist, Conclave, Doom Part 2, and Nickel Boys. That's
Tough
a great
category.
pick. That's a great pick.
Too. Yeah.
Nosferatu cinematography, I think, is the best of the year. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Did you see Scorsese praising Eggers?
I did not. What'd he say? He was like, this guy knows how to make cinema.
Literally just that. He's like, everything I watch of his, I like something along those lines.
Well, Scorsese has great taste.
True. True.
So best adapted screenplay went to Conclave. Oh, there's an Amelia Perez nom in there.
Yeah. All right.
But
I like the Conclave pick.
Yeah, Conclave's, I think, a strong script. It went against that. It was that, Doom Part 2, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, Wicked, and Amelia Perez. I still think Sing Sing, though, is probably overall better script.
Mm.
But I'm okay with a Conclave win. I liked Conclave. Original screenplay went to The Substance. Love that win. Against Honora, September 5, The Brutalist, Real Pain, and Challengers.
Mm. That's a tough
So
one.
critics
Yeah.
gave Challengers a lot more love than the Academy.
I'm shocked there isn't more love for Sing Sing, though.
Same.
I'm happy for Challengers, but I thought critics would be gunning for Sing Sing after the
Yeah.
Oscars kerfuffles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Best Director, this was a surprise win. I saw a lot of headlines talking about this because they nominate way more than 5 for director. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
I did not know
directors
that.
nominated. And it was Amelia Perez got a nom.
Oh, I thought it was
Joaquez
the win.
I'm going to butcher it, but he got a nom. Sean Baker for Honora got a nod. Edward Burge for Conclave got a nom. Brady Corbett for The Brutalist got a nom. John M. Chu for Wicked got a nom. Corley Fargette for The Substance, if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry, got a nom. Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys got a nom, and Denis Villeneuve for Doom Part 2 got a nom, and it went to John M. Chu for Wicked. It was a big surprise thing, and there's a great video of John being very, very shocked that he won this award because he's not been nominated for a lot of these kind of awards during the circuit. Yeah, he was like, oh my God, which is great because I think he brings a lot to Wicked and is a big reason Wicked's as good as it is, and he's an underrated director. So I'm happy that he got a win here, but would I have given him the win? No, but I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Chu's work, but he is a director that throughout the years you've just seen him work hard and grind, and he's, able to get to this place as a result of just, hard work and doing well with his projects, even if the projects don't work well all the time. Again, agree with you, Alex. Like, he is not at the top of my list if I was one of these voters, but that is a surprise, and I guess, like, at the end of the day, you're just happy to see, people happy and getting their wins, and good for him, I suppose, but don't know if I would necessarily agree with it, but just as a director, I've just seen him through the years, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Sean Baker should, or Denis should, or Corley should all be winners before him, but
yeah, like 6 of those
they
guys
have a best
alone.
acting ensemble that went to Conclave.
Ooh.
Which there's another Amelia Perez nomination. We're tallying. We want to see what the final.
No, I know. I just don't agree that that's like best ensemble worthy personally.
Oh, no. Honora should have won this over Conclave even. Honora's ensemble makes it's everything. They also have a best young actor / actress nomination that went to Maisie Stella for My Old Ass, which I think is cool. Good for her. Yeah, a lot of them are just kids, like the little boy from Blitz. The girl who played Young Furiosa and Mad Max got a nom. So that's a cool little category there.
Okay.
Now to the best supporting
check that one out. Yeah.
Actress. Here were the nominees. Danielle Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson. I'm going to butcher this. Anjur Ellis Taylor for Nickel Boys. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Margaret Qualley for The Substance. Isabel Rossellini for Conclave. And Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. And she won. Which is not a shock. She has won every single award so far that she's been nominated in. She's won them all. So it's not a big shock.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
But man, Isabella Rossellini circles, I think, around Zoe.
I see one of those. If she does win the Oscar, if Zoe does, we're gonna have conversations years from now about Isabella Rossellini being the rightful. That always happens every Oscar year. Like there's always one, and then years later, just another performance ages better than what actually won. This will probably be one of those times.
Best supporting actors, they have Yura for Honora, Kieran Culkin for Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, which he absolutely should have gotten nominated for the Academy Award,
Mm.
Edward Norton for In a Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and they have Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. It looks like they pick just however many they want here since they have 6.
Yeah, interesting.
Kieran won. It's looking like Kieran's he's also sweeping, that he's pretty much locked in, but Yora is still the best, or him or Clarence should be the winners here. So, if you ask me. And Kieran's great, but
Sure.
thoughts?
Yeah, when I feel like this has been happening the past few years, if I recall how things happen correctly, is that once you see like winning streaks start to happen, they're pretty much indicators of like how the Oscars are gonna go. I think supporting actor and supporting actress are like good examples and are gonna become that.
Every now and then it doesn't happen, but
True.
It's usually what happens. If they're sweeping, it's usually pretty locked in. But
right.
Best actress, we had Cynthia, Carla, Margine Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Angelina Jolie got in for Maria, Mikey. What did we decide on again? Mikey for Honora, and then Demi Moore, who won for The Substance. Okay. I think it's starting to look like it will be Demi Moore winning, as much as I think Mikey's better. But I also love Demi, so I'm very happy to see her sweep it and collecting all these awards. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's great for
Substance is great.
Yeah, Substance is a great movie. Demi's win is great too for her career and for herself. The Jean-Baptiste nomination, I didn't realize she was nominated to begin with. That was one of those roles that was kind of outside the bubble in the awards race, and I've seen some YouTubers trying to predict that she would have gotten nomination, but just came from a small movie that just never really got the ground running. But I think there's a lot of film enthusiasts, film lovers that have seen that movie and praise that performance. Like they call it one of the strong performances of the year. So at least the critics were able to give her that nomination.
Best actor went to, or it was Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy for Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig for Queer, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Hugh Grant for Heretic. Interesting. I know people have really supported Heretic. It's been a movie I meant to check out. That's been on my list. I just haven't gotten to it. But people have really kind of been like, this movie's great. But Adrian Brody won. He's also been sweeping. It looks like these acting noms are pretty much kind of locked in. But Coleman Domingo to me is still the better choice here, but Adrian's great in the movie.
All right. Yeah, can't wait to see The Brutalist.
Best Picture. Let's see. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they do a full 10 nominations. Complete Unknown, Honora, Brutalist, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boy, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked were all the nominees. And this went to Honora. And I love it. I love it. Right. I saw them freaking out when they won. They were so freaking hyped. Love it. Because it is one of the best movies of the entire year. So I love this because I feel like Best Picture for the Academy Award is kind of anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's a true front runner because so many of these awards split and they do comedy and they don't do comedy. Like A Real Pain's not in here, but A Real Pain is in there like one best comedy or whatever. Like they like to do this little switcheroo, which is weird.
It was a tie.
But Best Picture, it was a tie. But Best Picture, it's like it's kind of all over the place. Like people are winning different things. So I love this win for Honora. This is awesome.
Yeah, just for my own selfish purposes, really love Honora. It's a great movie. I'm glad that it got a win for the big prize at Critics' Choice. I get what you mean, though, that this race for Best Picture does seem more open than most in the past years as we're coming closer towards, towards the Oscar ceremony now. We're only a few weeks out at this point. I still think, like, The Edge is going to The Brutalist. I could see that being the Best Picture winner as of now. But I'm not saying it's, like, by a wide gap. I still think it's, like, a small percentage to where it's just open for that reason. Yeah, but that's just where I'm leaning towards. Yeah.
Critics gave 10 nominations to Amelia Perez.
Really? That was 10?
10 total nominations.
Jeez, it's everyone's fault. It's everyone's fault at this point.
It's not a good movie.
If critics then are complaining that Amelia Perez got 13 nominations, then I can't trust them because it's possible those critics are in the Critics' Choice. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I don't know what the voting body for the critics is.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just making a sarcastic remark,
Still.
but it's not a good look, guys. I don't know. Just saying.
Well, anything else today? Should we wrap this up a little early?
We can wrap it up early. Yeah,
guys,
why not?
What did you think of everything we talked about today? Comment below, let us know. What is your best picture of the year? And do you think Amelia Perez is as bad as we do? We'd love to have you in the conversation. So thank you, Millennial patrons. It's some merch. Help us get to that 2,000 mark. Go Birds tomorrow. And
rooting for you.
As always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.